So Dorsett, interesting life so far. We had a random conversation about that.
Yeah.
You're from small town Mississippi, right?
Cleveland, Mississippi.
So tell me about that. What's Cleveland, Mississippi like for those that aren't aware?
It's the Delta, catfish farms, flatlands, just, no jobs.
Yeah.
School system bad, stuff like that. I mean, it's a good area because it's, you know a lot of people there and a lot of people go through the same things, but I don't know, some of the same struggles just kind of, make you stronger when you see other things, and when you able to get out and you see other things, it kind of makes you understand what you went through and how you grew up.
Now, did you grew up your whole life there? So you went through all your schooling there all the way up through high school?
Yes.
And what, you played sports throughout school, or was it just when you got to high school?
All the way throughout. Started early, man. It was too heavy. Too big to play Little League. So I had to start playing when I was 7th grade.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget, man, I remember putting my pads in for the first time. I had them in backwards. And one of my partners helped me out with them. He turned them around for me, told me which pad go in which area, and he basically showed me how to put my stuff on for the first time. And that was 7th grade, man. And that guy's dead now. So I remember him. He was a friend of mine. But other than that, it's all the way through. I played all the way through basketball, football, and track too. I threw the shot put and track.
Yeah.
Yeah, I won the shot put, won the state championship 2 years in a row.
Yeah.
My father's throw was 60 feet 2 inches.
Lord.
So yeah.
I remember in middle school, I tried to do track and field. Of course, I was also a big kid, so running was not exactly what I was going to do. But I did do shot put, and I remember I was throwing pretty far for a middle school. I remember, like 30, 35 feet, something like that. And I was like, that's pretty decent.
Yeah.
Then we had a kid from a visiting school come over, and they were like, hey, this kid's throwing like 45 feet, easily. And at the time I was all like, no way this kid's throwing 40. And he's the same age as us,
Yeah.
And sure enough, he did. He came over and he just destroyed us. But he ended up playing like 10 years in the NFL. So I'm okay with that now. Back then I was like, I can't believe it. But now I'm like, all right, that's cool. I'm okay with it. So shout out to Andre Fluellen. So, so you did a little bit of everything, but football, you kind of transitioned there.
Oh yeah. Basketball was my first love though.
Yeah.
I just stopped growing. I stopped growing, and you don't have too many 6'6" centers.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, so I just transitioned over, and I just chose a sport, and it happened to be football. So
why football though? Were you playing baseball or anything?
No. In my hood, man, it was everybody was throwing fast, everybody was throwing hard, and just to be able to be up to bat when some of those guys, man, were throwing the ball, man, how skilled they was, but just didn't really play organized ball. But in the parks, I knew I couldn't handle. If I couldn't handle them, I knew I couldn't handle nobody really good. So I left that alone.
Yeah. So no baseball for you.
No baseball for me.
So then obviously football is your passion now.
Oh yeah.
What grade did you feel like this is really my thing now?
Probably about 10th grade.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably about 10th grade. Started settling in on about 10th grade. We got a coach that came to us. His name was Charles Brady.
Okay.
And he played with Walter Payton for at Jackson State back in the day, and a bunch of guys, man, that he played with, and he basically changed my life and let me know early that I could use this to get out of my situation or to get out of Cleveland.
Yeah.
And man, I mean, he basically put me in a position to be successful, and I never forget him for that.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to be said for an opportunity giving you a way out.
Oh yeah,
and even I don't come from nowhere, Mississippi and the Delta. Like I've never been to Cleveland, but I can imagine now by the way you described it.
Yeah,
but I definitely didn't have the opportunities I feel like that, some of the other kids I knew had, and grew up a single parent household. Mom worked a lot to make sure that the bills were paid,
Yeah. Luckily, I ain't go through that part.
Yeah.
I had a father.
Yeah.
I had a father, man. Had an awesome father.
Yeah.
And he stuck in there with my mom. They stayed together until my mom passed away.
Yeah.
And man, he was there all the way up, and I learned so much from him.
Yeah.
So much from it. I was one of the only kids in our area on our street that had both parents.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I look back and I look at how they turned out and how their life took a swing, and all the things that they had to go through, because early on they made some big mistakes early on.
Yeah.
They made big mistakes early on that really cost them really, really their livelihood.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's one thing I learned early too.
Were these kids like talented like you though?
Yes.
They had the abilities that you had?
Yes.
Because I mean, you're a big guy, 6'6",
Yeah.
and doing work on the football field, but not everybody's got that opportunity. But these guys did.
I mean, in my neighborhood, I wasn't the talented one.
Really?
I wasn't the talented one. I knew I had something because I was fast as the smaller guys.
Yeah.
But I was bigger.
Yeah.
So I knew I had something there with my speed. You know what I'm saying? But far as skill, I mean, I wasn't the talented one. I was just the one that had that foundation to where I knew right from wrong, and I knew there was a consequence, and I wasn't going.
Hey, if you want to mute that,
Yeah, I do want to mute that.
Go ahead. You can. Ain't no big deal.
Yeah, hold on for a minute, Trent, man. I'll call you back. I'll call you right back. That was my bail bondsman.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's my other business. That's who I was on the phone with.
Yeah.
In the truck, we caught a guy that we was looking for, and we had
Here,
to pay.
get close to the mic.
Okay, yeah, we caught a guy. We caught a guy that we was looking for, and we had to basically there's a deputy sheriff that's his little side hustle. It's to, it's to go get people with warrants.
Yeah.
And we got in touch with him. We made the connection, and we got the guy turned in.
Okay.
So, and that was just him calling me, confirming that everything's okay, that everything's good to go.
Okay.
Paperwork is in, the guy's in jail, so we off the bond basically.
That's good.
Yeah. So that's just my business, man.
So
my
okay, so
hustle.
Bring me back. So now you're in 10th grade.
Yeah.
You're playing ball. Everything's good.
Yeah.
Dad's there, supportive. Other people in your neighborhood got talent, don't have both parents still, not showing as much opportunity or not taking as much opportunity as you're taking. What happens after you get through 10th grade, 11th grade? When do you start realizing I may be able to go play Division I ball?
When I first started getting letters.
Yeah.
When I first started getting letters.
What grade was that?
This was 11th grade.
Okay.
I'll never forget it. Going into my 11th grade year, because I did all county, all area. I mean, I was that like in the 9th grade. Because I go back from junior high. After the junior high season was over with,
yeah,
they brought me up to high school. So I was able to play high school ball the last couple of games of the high school season my 8th grade year. Broke my collarbone my 9th grade year, so I didn't play my 9th grade year, okay? So when I came back my 10th grade year, I spent all summer working out, getting ready for the season, and bam, now we get a new coach. And he came, he came from a college background, and so he basically put my name out there. And and I was already 6'4", 270, just an athlete. Just really
what
didn't
year
know.
is this?
This was 95.
Oh yeah. So at the time too, late 90s, early 2000s, if you weren't coming out of Florida or Georgia or Texas, you were having a hard time with getting into colleges. Yeah. Unless somebody knew, just like that coach was able to pass your name around. But if you were from a school that didn't really have that, you may not have gotten that opportunity.
I agree.
So I knew somebody that started websites, and that's what they would do is they would go and film these players that were from schools that may not have been, getting as much attention, but the players were quality players.
Yeah.
And they would build basically tapes for them to get to these colleges and stuff. So I can only imagine now you're,
See, tapes wasn't out then.
Yeah. Wasn't even a real thing.
No, film wasn't. It was on VHS.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? If you was lucky, had a VHS player, you could possibly see it. But they're just like in high school, we didn't watch film on other opponents because there wasn't nobody taping it. I mean, it was just one of those things where that was just at a disadvantage back then. But he basically, I started getting letters, and when I started getting letters, I started thinking they wasn't from small schools; they was from big schools.
Do you remember who your first letter came from?
My first letter came from Tennessee, the University of Tennessee. That was my first letter, and then came just basically Georgia, Nebraska. Oklahoma, they start Michigan, they start coming, the bigger schools start coming. Then I started thinking because they hadn't seen me yet. I hadn't seen none of these people. So coming up to the season, when the season started, now they start coming in. And before that, this was never seen at my school. Like nobody never seen college recruiters come in and looking at athletes like big college recruits. You had the small schools, Valley, Mississippi Valley, Alcorn, maybe. You know what I'm saying? If somebody was good enough, but nobody big, like nobody Division I like that. And it was crazy, man. It was a flood of people. I was one of the first ones in my school, but I was a 3-sport All-American though. Basketball, high school, basketball, football, and track. So it was. It was just one of them things that they wanted to come see it, man.
A lot of pressure. Did you feel a lot of pressure at the time when?
Yeah, because I didn't really know, because at that point in time, I was just doing just enough academically, just to pass. Because nobody told me, nobody let me know that you got to get these grades. You know what I'm saying? That you got to have a certain GPA. You got to, make a certain score on the ACT. Nobody said that.
Right.
So at that point now I'm thinking like, okay, now I got to get on the ball with that, so I can go. Now I got the looks, now I got the interest. Now can I qualify? You know what I'm saying? So that was a whole thing, because before that it was basically just passing, just making it just enough just to be passing. Yeah. And I could have did the work. I could have did better, but it was no motivation to do anything other than just pass the class.
Right.
And that's basically what I did. And, I ended up shooting myself in the foot in the long run, with that.
So what did happen with that? So you've got all these letters from these colleges. Mm-hmm. Now you've gotten to senior year, and you've decided on which school, or have you decided at some point?
Yeah, there was so many. Jesus, there was so many, and I ain't gonna even lie. It was great, man. It was great attention. It was
way before NIL too, so you didn't. It wasn't like money was a factor at that point.
No, money wasn't a factor. It was just off of the love, off of what they offered, how you felt when you went on campus, how you felt with the guy that was recruiting you.
When you say what they offered, kind of go into that a little bit. What does a school offer you pre-NIL? Like, what are they like? Hey, come here. We'll give you a nicer dorm room. We'll give you more money for food during the week.
No,
is that even Or is it like, hey, here's what we're building and we want you to be a part of it? Is that more like it?
That's more like it.
Yeah.
That's more like it. You know, you go based off of what it could be for you or what you could make it be.
Right.
You know, because, you know, one or two players can definitely impact the program, you know, in the right spots. So, you know, you go in, you know what I'm saying, with the idea that you're going to change the program and that is going to put you on the map, basically, to propel you to the next level, which is the NFL.
So who did you ultimately choose?
I chose Oklahoma.
Okay.
I chose Oklahoma Sooners.
And so now you're getting close to the end of your senior season.
Yeah.
And your plans are to go to Oklahoma.
Plans are to go to Oklahoma. I'm looking at my grades. My grades are getting there, but they wasn't there yet.
Okay.
Made a 17 on the ACT. I had the GPA back then. It was like a 2.6 GPA with a 18 on the ACT.
Okay.
Or 2.5. I think it was a 2.5 with 18 on the ACT. So I ended up making a 17. All right. I made a 17 3 times in a row.
Okay.
All right. And then we tried to go and try to add up the areas, the different areas of the different areas that the score was in, just to see would it make an 18. And it did. It didn't. It never made the 18.
Okay.
And I remember that disappointment, man, of knowing that I didn't make it after all of this, after all this high school success and everything, man. I remember that disappointment of not making it. But I knew, though, that there was another route. I knew that I wasn't the first person that has been through this. So I started researching, like, okay, what, you know what I'm saying? Who has, first I started seeing who has came, basically who came from junior college. Right now I'm thinking, I'm knowing, now I got to go to junior college. Back then it was Prop 48. Okay. Prop 48 was in place when they would get you on campus and get you in classes, and you would work out and you would get your GPA up. And then once you got your GPA up, now you roll into the next semester, you know what I'm saying? Like, just like your spring semester on campus in your dorm room. So it was kind of plus, but the first year you didn't play. And that success rate coming out of high school for a kid that basically, was playing every down since his freshman year. Now he's going to sit out and just go to school away from home, away from his support. That really didn't sit well with me. So I chose the junior college route, and the junior college route then for me was Hutchinson.
Okay.
Hutchinson, Kansas.
Right?
Kansas. Mm-hmm.
So what did you have to do there? You were able to play right off the rip?
Well, no, that was a whole nother situation that happened. Okay, you can't. The scholarship basically wasn't valid with Oklahoma per se because I was underage when I signed the scholarship. Okay, but after I had to go to junior college, my mother came down with breast cancer. So the first thing in my mind was, I can't be away from home. I can't be that far away from home. If something happens, I can't get back home, then now I'm stuck. So I started looking closer at the closer junior colleges. Now I fell into these rules to where your area, wherever your area was, that's the junior college, that's the community college you had to go to. All right, so I fell into that, and the two junior colleges shared the same area. And my area was Mississippi Delta and Coahoma. Okay, and both of these schools was, was on the verge of being, the last teams in the league, basically. Mm-hmm. The year before I got there, Mississippi Delta did go to the state playoffs. Okay, but they got kicked out of that. And the next year, then I came. Then we pretty much did the same thing and lost too.
What do you mean they got kicked out? They just
we just lost. We just lost basically. Yeah, nothing happened. Violent or nothing like that.
You never know.
We had a good coach, man. We had some good guys.
Yeah.
So yeah, we wasn't that type of team.
So how long were you at junior college?
I was there for a year and a half.
And then when you got good enough grades and scored high enough on the ACT, now it was like, all right.
Well, at that point right there, going to junior college, I didn't have to take the ACT no more.
Oh, okay.
All right, so the only thing I had to do was just graduate from junior college.
Okay.
So I bust my butt, and in a year and a half, I finished up everything within a year and a half, and I was able to be in Mississippi State, enroll in Mississippi State. And the spring
again because you want to be close to home.
Yes.
So mom is still alive.
Mom's still alive. She's still alive.
Still battling cancer.
Still battling breast cancer.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And so you go and sign with Mississippi State.
Yep.
You're there.
Yep.
Played how many seasons there?
3.
3 seasons there.
Yeah, I played 1 year junior college ball.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And then now you're end of the senior season, right? And what's your plan? Is go to NFL? Did you even think that you would make it to the NFL at that point?
I had a draft prediction.
Okay.
Basically, it was my junior year. I was projected to go 4th round. Coming into my senior year, I was projected to go 1st round.
As a what? What was your position?
Yeah, as a defensive tackle. Okay. Defensive tackle / defensive end.
Okay.
All right. And basically it was a defensive tackle. I was a 3 technique.
Okay.
So, it was nice, man. We at that point.
When you're on the verge of being a 1st round draft pick, these agents, people are reaching out to you, I'm sure, offering to buy you stuff.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
What's that like? Tell me a little bit about that. What is that? I mean, what are they offering you? What are they saying to you? How do they approach you? I mean, you're 17? No, I'm sorry, not 17. At this point, you're done with, you're in your early 20s.
Yeah, 22, 23.
So what are they saying to you? You don't have a choice anyways. They're going to the draft picks whoever they want to pick whenever it's their turn.
Yeah, and when you're projected, they already know that you walking money, basically.
Yeah. So they're offering you things.
Yeah.
Are they offering you things that they're wanting you to buy back basically once you've gotten paid?
Well, that's the fine print.
Yeah.
See, a lot of guys sometimes they get overwhelmed with the opportunity now to where now I could buy something. See that was back then before this other stuff come into play.
Before this NIL money.
Yeah, before that come into play, they basically came with what you needed.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? If you needed a car, if you needed, if your parents needed this or needed that, they basically provided.
And who are these people that are coming to you with that? Agents?
Well, agents and the lawyers, basically.
Okay.
And 9 times out of 10, the agents were lawyers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So an agent typically will find you, I guess, right?
Yes.
You're not out looking for who's the best, or
no.
You're not scouting on your own.
If you in that top echelon, they hunt you. You're not getting on the horn, sending your tapes out, or trying to get somebody to look at your YouTube videos. They are recruiting you.
And who'd you end up getting as an agent?
This guy named Harry Henderson. He was from New Orleans.
I saw him in a movie once. There was Bigfoot came to the whole house, Harry and the Hendersons. You remember that? Why him? Did he offer you something? I mean, was it he's got the best deal, I'm going to go with him?
Nah,
just the best fit.
Just the best fit.
Yeah.
He basically, all my training, he had some of the best trainers. I trained with a guy named Mackie Shieldstone.
Okay.
And at that time, he was training Roy Jones Jr. at the time. So this was Roy Jones Jr., the personal trainer that I was training with. And my footwork, my hand speed, all that increased. So it really helped me out. So I like the fact of the connections he had as far as who was going to get me ready for the next level.
Now, is that something where he's like, hey, here's what I had to offer. Here's this trainer that I work with. Blah, blah. Or were you already working out with that guy? Did he already put you in touch with that guy?
No, I wasn't.
So this was all like, hey,
him.
This is what I had to offer. Kind of like, again, with college, where they're like, this is what I've got to offer.
Yeah.
If you like it, come join the team.
Yeah.
At the time, does he have a lot of other clients that you know that are pro ball players or?
Well, no. I mean, at the time he had like 6 guys at the time.
Okay.
All right. And they wasn't pro bowlers. They was guys that had longevity in the league.
Okay.
So I did see that they, he kept them under contracts. Like he kept them on teams.
Yeah.
So I was okay with them odds. And I was thinking, as long as I got a shot to put on the suit, then a lot of that I would have to take care of myself through my play.
Right.
So, and a lot of that stuff will work itself out if you ball and if you're doing your thing on the field.
So you choose him as your agent, and then what? It comes draft time.
Yeah, it comes draft time. So,
but something happens before draft, right?
Well, no. Well, no. There's nothing as far as what you mean, like
with your mom. Did your mom see you get drafted?
Yeah, she did.
Okay,
she did. She was sick, but she did see me get drafted.
Okay.
Yeah.
And who you get drafted to?
Denver Broncos.
And do you remember, I'm sure you remember what round and what
yeah, man. Yeah, I remember.
How do you ever forget something like that?
I remember the whole thing. You don't. It sticks in your head as the moment.
Yeah.
Because that's the moment when you get the call.
So what round and what pick were you?
3rd round, 96 pick overall.
Where were you at?
I was at home. Okay. I chose not to go nowhere. I chose to be around my family.
Yeah.
And it was just me, my mom, and my dad.
Okay.
And
no brothers, no sisters?
No brothers, no sisters. Didn't want nobody else around.
Okay.
And I actually fell asleep on it because back then, the first round they did the first round, they did the second round, and then later on that night they did the 3rd round. That was the first day. Everything else was the second day.
Right.
4 through 7 was the second day. Okay. So that night, it came up to that night. And like I said, so when I didn't go, when my name wasn't popping up as up under the first round, because they would say the player's name and they would show highlights and they would talk about them and this and that. So it took the picks were basically about 15 minutes apart. Like it was 15-minute intervals.
Right.
So I fell asleep. I fell asleep on it. And I remember, man, my dad waking me up. Dorsett, you on the screen. You popped up on the screen. You know what I'm saying? And I ran back in the front and lo and behold, my name, I looked at the guys that was coming across the screen at the bottom. It said best available. And a couple guys came across. Bam, here comes my name. I'm like, oh, wow, that's it. Okay, all right. I'm like, okay, here it comes, So watched him, and I seen a couple guys, get drafted that I was in the combine with. And I'm like, okay, yeah, he went over here, he went over there, And all of a sudden, phone rings, and I looked at my daddy, I looked at my mama, and they looked at me. It was like,
is this a house phone or cell phone?
House phone.
House phone. Yeah.
House phone. All right. So
a lot of people don't know what those are anymore.
Yeah. That thing that hangs on the wall. They got the long cord to it. Yeah. That's what that was. But phone rings. Now I look at them. They look at me. I said, "Mama, I want you to answer it." She answered it, and it was Mike Shanahan on the other end, and he basically, said, he was talking loud. I could hear him. He basically said, "How you doing?" And, is this the mother of Dorsett Davis? You know what I'm saying? She was like, yeah. He was like, "How you doing? My name's Mike Shanahan, the head coach of the Denver Broncos." And she just, she just, because she didn't really know anything about football. She just knew I was pretty good. That's all she knew. And, she, it was basically one of them things where she was like, "Yeah, here you go right here," and I got the phone, and next thing you know, he was like, "Hello, Dorsett, how are you? My name is Mike Shanahan from the Denver Broncos, the head coach of the Denver Broncos." how would you like to be a Bronco? And I was like, I would love to be a Bronco.
Yeah, I can imagine.
I would love to be a Bronco. And it was just one of them. He was like, okay, well, we got your flights. You know what I'm saying? We need you at the airport. We got what's your nearest airport that's closer to you? And I told him, and he was like, okay, well, we got you a red-eye flight. Man, it was like 10:30. And I stayed like about 2 hours from the airport. It was like 10:30. He said, we got your red-eye flight. We need you here in the morning for the press conference. Our top 3 picks, you know what I'm saying? Our top three picks of the draft, we bring them in, you know what I'm saying? And we have a press conference.
Do you remember who went?
Yeah.
With you? Who was it?
Clinton Portis, Ashley Lilly,
okay,
and me.
So you get on a flight that night or the next morning?
That night. I hurry up and pack the bag. You know, my mama was trying to throw stuff in my bag. She was just trying to be your mama, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, my dad, it was telling me, make sure you call me when you get there. And, you know, it was just one of them things, man. They was sending their baby off, man. And it was nice, man. It was that whole drive down there, man. That's when it started reflecting, like, man, my life is about to change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you get when you're offered a position like that, or like I don't want to say position, but when you're offered a spot on this roster, do you know, like, do they tell you this is what we're paying you? This is what here's your sign-on bonus or anything like that? Or is that more of something where they've talked to your agent already and they've ironed this out? Or like, how does that even happen?
Well, the first two rounds are the contracts with incentives.
Okay.
After the first 2 rounds, your contract is basically set with the league minimum, and then it goes for 3 years.
Okay.
So you get the league minimum for the first 3 years, and then unless you pull off some unbelievable numbers, and then they have to go back and restructure it.
Okay.
But other than that, you get the league minimum for the 3 years.
And so, but you
do get a signing bonus. But you do get a signing bonus up front.
So you got a signing bonus for 3rd round,
yes.
Right? Do you remember how much it was?
Yeah, I do.
Was it big?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was big for me. It was, it was in the high 350s.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so you knew at the time what your salary would be.
Yeah.
And then you knew what your sign-on bonus would be.
Yeah.
So now you're kind of, I don't want to say carefree, but I mean, people can say what they want. Money may not buy happiness, but it definitely puts a little bit more calm and ease to you when you got money in the bank.
Yeah, it does.
So
yeah, it does. But you got to look at it being 23, 24 with all that money.
And you've been used to eating ramen noodles.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Surviving that college life.
Yes. Well, actually, at Mississippi State, man, we they took care of us at Mississippi State.
Oh, I bet.
You know what I'm saying? And they made sure that, that it was, and that was another one of them things, them incentives to go, you know what I'm saying, just basically to a college because of the things that they offer and the things that they would do to make sure that you was comfortable.
Yeah.
And they made sure that, it was a home away from home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So so you get to Denver and now the whole thing begins. You've got to go through rookie training camp.
Oh yeah.
All that,
Yeah. Oh yeah. So get to Denver and go get in training camp. And everything is going. I'm there with these guys, man. I've been seeing on TV, Shannon Sharp and Ed McCaffrey, Brian Greasy, Terrell Davis, Elway. I'm looking at these guys, man. I'm like, wow, man. I'm in tall cotton right here. You know what I'm saying? So it was nice, man. But I still had to make that team.
Right.
And so my whole deal was focusing on making that team. And man, all of a sudden I get a call. I get a call, man, from my father, man, crying, said, "Mama gone." And man, that tore me up. They had to, they got me a ticket home, and and basically I had to deal with that.
How long into your NFL career did that happen?
A month. A month.
So you've not even really had time to adjust to not being home.
Yeah. She passed away. I got drafted April 28th. She passed away May 17th. Yeah. And she was one of the reasons why I made it. Because like I told you, I wanted to make sure that the things she was doing for me, she wouldn't have to do no more. You know what I'm saying? And it meant something to me just not to see her struggle and to see her have some things that she always wanted to have, or do some things she always wanted to do.
Yeah.
So
you told me off camera your mom was like a no nonsense.
Oh yeah.
Didn't take a lot of guff from anybody who worked for the penal system.
Yes.
Right.
Parchment.
So
yeah.
And so explain to people what that is.
Well, I mean, Parchment is the Mississippi State Penitentiary.
Okay.
You know, a lot of people, you know, that's where Life was made. You know, the movie Life, they was in the fields out there at Parchment. And it was based off of being locked up in Parchment. And, you know, there's been a lot of movies, you know, off of that Mississippi State Penitentiary. It's, you know, they actually put you back in the fields and actually work you, and actually it's you know, it's one of them things that you just don't want to go to. And my mother was a lieutenant. She had her own camp, and she was one of the first women, you know, that was basically over a men's camp. So yeah, she was pretty tough, man.
And what did you say your dad did?
Well, my dad did a lot. My dad at one time had about 4 jobs.
Yeah.
You know, he I mean, he did whatever he could, you know what I'm saying, at that time to make it happen.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, he was rarely at home, but at the same time, we knew where he was. We knew he was working.
Yeah.
So, you know, he was a good guy, man. I love my father.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, good. That's, you know, not many people can say that. You know, I grew up without my dad, and I still to this day don't know, you know, I don't want to say fault, but I don't know why he wasn't a part of my life. You know, I don't know if it was my mom didn't want him there, or he didn't want to be there.
Yeah.
But as a father now, I'm like, I couldn't imagine not being a part of my kid's life, but I can imagine doing what your dad did. Yeah. I'm always willing to do whatever needs to be done to take care of my family.
That's how he was.
I have no problem with that, but I can't imagine not being a part of their life at all. So, you know, shout out to your dad. So, so your mom passes.
Mm-hmm.
Now you obviously are dealing with that. What's it like to have to turn around and go back to Denver to be a part of this football team in the midst of losing your mom?
Well, when I went back, I mean, everybody knew my situation. They knew I just lost my mom. And they welcomed me with open arms. I mean, they basically, they put me through some therapy. I was talking to people and just getting my emotions out and stuff like that. And they was there for me. They really was there for me. But at the same time, things were still rolling.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I still had a spot that I needed to get. You see what I'm saying? So there was a point in time to where I really had to separate things. I had to put that to the side, and for these couple hours, I need to focus on what this guard's doing, what this tackle is doing. You see what I'm saying? I struggled at first, but like I said, with them being patient with me, I was able to get it together. And I was able to come back. I was able to come back focused and just doing what I need to do. And at one point in time, a lot of things I was going through just didn't bother me no more. So I learned how to separate things.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I learned how to separate the business from the emotional. And to me that was business. That was something I had to do. And I was just able to be that when I went home, but at the same time, it was tough. I ain't gonna even lie, it was tough because she was the reason why I was working out, why I was running, why I was doing what I need to do to make it. She was that reason, and all of a sudden, now she's gone.
Mm-hmm.
So my motivation left. My motivation to do it was gone. It was totally gone. And now I look back, my son played a big part in getting my motivation back. Once I had my son, I had another reason to do it again. And everything started happening again for me. And the game started slowing down and I got better.
How long into your NFL career did you have your son?
The second year.
Yeah.
Yeah, the second year. I have him the second year. And
how long were you still with the Broncos?
Yes.
Yeah. How long did you play for them?
4 years.
Okay.
Yeah, I played with them 4 years.
What's it like, just since you brought it up, what's it like being around Shannon Sharp and John Elway? Are they approachable? Are they people that you can talk to?
Yeah. Yeah. You just got to,
I mean, obviously they're star players.
Yeah, but it's, like I said, it's one of them things to where, you can't come up like a fan.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because
they're still normal people.
That's what I'm saying, and that's what everybody do. You can't. Oh, can you sign it? We don't want to sign all the time,
right?
You know what I'm saying? There's a time to do that, and there's a time to have a life.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Now, if you come up with, just normal conversation, yeah, they're normal people like everybody else. Great personalities. They're awesome guys. You know what I'm saying? But there's certain times to where people be out to where they don't want to be bothered.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And when people come up and come up with the fan stuff and then now you bother them and they're trying to get away mentally, they're trying to get away, they're trying to get out and have a different scenery and get away from it. And now here you come. And I know the fans don't know. They don't know what the players are going through to even give them a break like that. And that's one of them things when you are in that spotlight, you got to understand that it comes with the territory.
But in the locker room, normal guys, just easy going.
Awesome.
Didn't
easy
have
going. Joning, a lot of playing, a lot of talking about each other, but in a good way.
Yeah, right.
You know
locker
what I'm saying? Locker room talk,
Yeah.
just the fellas. It was just.
It's funny how, like, in the locker room, you hear it a lot from former NFL players or just any pro athlete that seems to be like, well, more especially, I guess, NFL. So I worked for the Braves, the Atlanta Braves, but for their farm league system. So. And then those guys all same thing, locker room mentality. We were all close to the same age, like 17 years old.
Yeah.
And they're playing professional baseball. I'm doing their laundry.
Yeah.
But still, the guys treated me like, normal. Like there was at the time I was working there, this Jeff Francoeur had just went through, Brian McCann had just come through, Jared Saltalamacchia was there.
Okay.
And I remember, these guys, Charlie Morton, one of the nicest guys I ever met. Still, I still think he plays for the Braves now, but like Jared Saltalamacchia was he was a Florida kid and wasn't like necessarily a jerk or anything, but he definitely was an alpha kind of male, but gave him my first color screen Nextel. Like I still remember that, took me my first ride in a BMW, my first ride in a Cadillac Escalade was with Jared.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, the first time I ever did donuts in a BMW, which you would not think that you would do that twice, but we took his Escalade to trade it in.
Yeah.
And he was looking at a BMW i745 or something like that. And they weren't going to give him what he wanted for the Escalade, but he was like, we're just going to take the 745 for a joyride.
Yeah.
So we did, and we were whipping donuts in it. But he was just a normal kid. He just was a professional athlete. So I never really look at it from the other side, like, how much you're looking at like a John Elway, a Shannon Sharp, who are clearly two of the greatest players in NFL history.
But they were down to earth people.
They were peers to you.
Yes.
But to anybody outside that,
Well, at first I was starstruck too. Now, don't
I can imagine.
Twisted. Like, it was. But once I got to playing them guys, and you got to understand, I was playing defensive end 3 technique in the in the NFL. So when we played defenses, to where I was a defensive end, now when we break the huddle, here comes Shannon. Yeah. So me and Shannon is tangling up. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's and I remember that, and it was, I remember us going in the locker room talking about, him telling me, because he had certain moves that he would do,
right.
you know what I'm saying, to hold me or to get me out of my gap, and he was telling me, if somebody did that to you, this is what you do. So this is what you do. This is how you stop that. And he would. I mean, it was one of them things where he was helping me out. Yeah, he was helping me out as we played against as we practiced against each other.
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm drawing a blank on the phrase, but something like iron on iron or iron sharpens iron. That's what it is. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, when you're playing with the best, it helps make you the best. Who else did you play with that made you elite at your position?
I say Trevor Price, Chester McLaughlin for sure.
Okay.
He was a nose guard, all pro nose guard. He played with the Raiders for a couple of years, and then he finished up with the Broncos. Man, okay. he was a dog, man.
Yeah.
He was I mean, he was big, he was strong. You know what I'm saying? He was that alpha too. And he was. He actually took me under his wing, man, when my mom passed.
Yeah.
So yeah, he the one hooked me up with the guy that was doing our suits. You know what I'm saying? The suit guy. Because he was, when you first coming into the NFL, your suit game ain't right. So your suit game ain't right. You ain't looking like everybody else looking.
Right.
And sometimes they laugh at you, so because of what you got on or how you think you looking, but the ones that take you up on their wing, they really show you the ropes. They really put you with their people, and then you start to look the part. Once you look the part, you become a part. And it's just one of those things to where that was how we basically communicated.
Yeah.
And just was there for each other. And I remember Chester. He passed away too. He passed away and. I would say 2013, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great guy also.
Now when you're playing professional ball, obviously you're training the entire season, but now season comes to an end. What's off season like for you? Are you still training? Are you actually taking time off? Are you because you're not, third round pick, really good.
Yeah.
But you're not guaranteed anything.
That's right.
You're not a first round. Even a first round is not guaranteed anything.
That's right.
And I've seen plenty of players go into the NFL with a lot of hype and just be a total bust, then have a breakout season and then bust again.
Hey, man. It's like that.
So what was it like for you in the off season?
What I did, I didn't do what I should have done.
Okay.
Now that I look back at it, and that was something that I wasn't exposed to. That was something because I was the first person that I knew that had made it. So for me to sit down and talk to somebody about what I need to be doing, I didn't have that.
Yeah.
And I ain't making no excuse, but I worked out. Because the team, your team have workouts. So I went back. I would always go back in the offseason and work out with my team, work out with the team strength coach and the team facilities and stuff like that. And, just stay in that area.
You were just maintaining.
Yeah, I was just maintaining.
It ain't like high school ball or nothing like that no more where you just go home, season's over.
No.
We'll start again next year.
No, man. Yeah. No, man. No. And, the good ones go year round.
Right.
And that's something that I didn't understand. I took time off. I let my body lose its shape and I would build it back up. You know what I'm saying? It was a seesaw instead of staying steady or keeping it at a certain level all the way through.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that took a toll on my body, seesawing like that. You know what I'm saying? Putting a little weight on because you're not working out as much. Then all of a sudden, a couple months, now you're going at it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You're going at it relentlessly, with people that has been working out. So now you're pushing yourself a little bit. You're hurting yourself basically to get back in shape.
Right.
Because now it's you either get back in shape or they see you ain't in shape. If they see you ain't in shape, now there's another problem. Because now you can't handle yourself. You can't manage your time during the off season. So that's the whole thing. You got to manage your time.
So how long were you with the Broncos? You said 4 years. Mm-hmm. So at the end of your 4th year, you find out you're being traded, or you get free agency?
Free agency, and they didn't sign me back.
What's that like? Scary time.
Scary time, because now you got the family. Now you taking now it's like, okay, well, where I might end up, you know.
And for a lot of people that don't realize, which I just do a lot of random research on stuff, so I'm sure you can speak to this, but that you can make a ton of money on paper in something like that, you know, the pros. You don't always get all that money. A lot of money goes out to agents. A lot of money goes out to taxes. A lot of money goes out to lawyers or whatever it is that you might need.
Yeah,
I'm sure everybody's got their hand out wanting something. Yeah. Fortunate for you, you didn't have brothers or sisters. I don't know if I would say that's fortunate, but you didn't have a large family, an immediate family trying to hit you up. How are you taking care of your dad at this point? Is he still working a ton, or how does that go?
Well, I mean, my dad had his own job.
Yeah,
and you know he was always taking care of himself. He didn't need my help. You know, he would actually help me out sometimes, even though he knew I had it. He would still come through for me, but he was still being daddy all the way through.
Was he coming to games and stuff like that too, or was he watching you on TV?
Yeah, he actually came to 2 games. He drove to 2. He drove to the one in Chicago. We played Chicago, and he drove to the one that we played, New Orleans Saints.
Okay.
Yeah. He drove to that.
But the New Orleans one he was probably like, oh, much shorter drive. Shorter drive.
Well, he left early though. He said he wasn't comfortable, man. You know what I'm saying? He said the fans there was kind of, you know, so it was kind of rowdy, man. He said he wasn't. He said he wasn't feeling the vibe.
Humble guy.
Very humble. Very humble until he got around his crowd. Now, when he got around his crowd, he was a total different guy.
Yeah.
Total different guy. He was the life of the party, man. He would dance. He would, you know, that was just him.
So now you're going into free agency. Mm-hmm. A lot of concerns, financial concerns, I'm sure, family concerns, like where am I going to end up? How am I going to take care of everything?
Yeah.
Where did you go from the Broncos?
Went to Oakland.
Okay.
Went to Oakland. Art Shell.
Obviously the Raiders.
Yeah, the Raiders.
When they were still in Oakland, not the Las Vegas Raiders.
Yeah, when they were still in Oakland.
So you head out to Oakland. Mm-hmm. How long were you there for?
Like 7 months. I was there 7 months. Worked out. Went to several camps. Went to the 2 mini camps. Went to the training camp. And got injured.
Okay.
Got hurt. I hurt my back and didn't get signed.
So you're with them for 7 months and didn't even get signed?
Yep.
Now you're collecting league minimum pay at this point?
No. At this point you ain't signed on and you ain't getting no more league money.
Oh, so you didn't get paid at all for the 7 months you were there?
Yep. That was out of my pocket.
What do you? Well, clearly it's not off season the whole time because
no, it's not off season.
So are you? But are you on the 53 roster?
Well, I was.
No, because you're not signed.
You're not signed.
So you're like a practice squad kind of thing.
Practice squad and basically not what they call it then. Inactive.
Okay.
Yeah, inactive.
So you're basically just showing up, doing what they ask you to do.
Yeah.
But living on your own dime.
Yeah.
Paying for your own apartment and stuff like that, I'm guessing, or they at least put you up?
Well, it was basically my own. Well, yeah, it was actually a hotel.
Okay.
It was a hotel. It was a nice hotel, and you know, but it was. I had to do that because it wasn't nothing concrete.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I wasn't going to move my family, you know what I'm saying, to a situation like that, and then I don't know if I'm going to be there next week or not.
Now, did you own a house in Denver?
Yeah, I did.
You did? Mm-hmm. You still own the house in Denver? Did you sell it?
No, I sold it.
So
Yeah.
So 7 months is done in Oakland.
Yeah.
Where to now?
I get injured. Now I'm rehabbing my back. Back gets strong enough. I'm running again. Everything gets better. So now I get a shot at Miami.
Okay.
Nick Saban. That's when he was with Miami, the Dolphins.
A lot of people don't realize that either.
Yeah.
That the GOAT was not always at Alabama.
Oh no, man.
He spent some time in the NFL.
Yeah, he spent a couple years in the NFL, and then he went back to college.
Yeah.
But Ricky Williams was there. A couple of Jason Taylor was there.
Yeah.
Guys like that, and and I pretty much it was the exact same thing. Mini camp, then training camp.
This is all the inactive stuff.
Well, no, this was actually before the season. This was before the season started coming up to the season.
Okay.
So
you're not getting paid still.
Not getting paid still. Okay, but I'm getting paid. I'm getting paid like probably I'm getting paid to actually work out. Then it was probably $150 a day. So I'm getting that to actually work out there. So I'm doing that. And the mini camps, 2 mini camps in a row, then the training camp, and then now I hurt my rotator cuff. I tore my rotator cuff, my shoulder, my left shoulder. And man, it was one of the biggest disappointments because I was practicing good. I was starting to get noticed, and all of a sudden, bam! I remember on the play it happened, and it was just one of them things where I had to really look at myself and was like, man, do I really want it now at this point? Because now I'm starting to really get my body's really starting to.
Right.
Now I've been banging all these years in them trenches, and now it's starting to but I always think if I would have kept, a certain type of regimen in the off season to where I stayed
healthy and in shape.
And stayed lifting weights, would that have helped me last a little bit longer? I always think about that. But that's what happened. And, tore the shoulder and didn't make the squad. So now it's like, okay, Denver, now I'm still there. My family's still in Denver. I'm still paying mortgage. I'm still taking care of family in Denver, man. Now when I look at the bank account, everything's starting to get a little low. Now. And then, this was still the money that I made when I was in Denver.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I put away, I saved, so whatever that I didn't mess off, this is what I was dealing with. Okay. So after that, after Miami, rehab my shoulder, didn't have surgery, probably should have had surgery. Didn't have surgery. Shoulder got well enough for me to try it again. I wanted to give it another shot. So I ended up going to Edmonton, Eskimos in Canada, okay? And, was there and got signed to a 1-year deal, and I'm looking at the contract. Contract was like $70,000 for the whole season.
That's a big difference.
That's a big difference.
Because the league minimum at the time in the NFL.
The league minimum at the time was, I think, $350,000.
Yeah. As long as you made the 53-man roster.
You made the 53-man roster, that's what you got for your league minimum. So we coming down to $70,000. And we playing just as many as games, and now I'm in a whole nother section.
Whole nother country.
That's what I'm saying.
What year was this?
This was, I want to say 2007. Yeah.
So just right before
the
financial crisis, 2008, the housing market crash.
Yeah.
All that stuff.
Yeah. I didn't.
Worst possible time for you to be going on the downhill slope with money.
Back and forth.
Yeah.
Back and forth like that, and spending money that I didn't see no return on.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And, trying to do the bare minimum here because I had a bigger picture over here that I knew I had to take care of. Mm-hmm. So it was just one of them things, man. And you know, if you ever in that situation to where you work your butt off so you won't have to get in that situation.
Right.
And that's what I always go back to. You know, I didn't have that guidance, man, of somebody being there to be able to tell me that you worked your butt off to make it to the league, to make it to the NFL. You gotta work your butt off even harder to stay.
Right.
Didn't nobody tell me that. I thought because I had made it, I was okay. I would be able to go to another team and get another situation and make it do what it do. Don't happen like that. You got to work your butt off even harder when you there than you did to make it.
Right.
You got to do that.
So what happens after your year in Canada?
I didn't take the contract.
Oh, you didn't take it?
Didn't take it.
So they offered you a 1-year deal, $70,000,
Yeah.
and you were like, "No, I'm good."
Going back home.
To Denver?
No, well, yeah, to Denver. I went back to Denver and stayed there for probably 4 or 5 months until my house sold.
Okay.
Once my house sold, we moved back to Mississippi.
Okay. Now your wife at the time, were you married at the time?
No, I wasn't married at the time.
But this was your son's mother.
Yes.
Is she from that area too, or did you meet her up in Denver?
Yeah, I met her in Denver. Yeah.
So now she comes back.
Yeah, and that's
big difference.
Culture shock. Culture shock.
Not even just for the fact that it's Denver to somewhere different, but you're talking about Denver to the deep south.
The Delta.
The Delta.
That's right.
It's totally different.
Totally different, man.
So how did that go? You guys come back here.
It was a big adjustment. I had a house in Pearl, Mississippi, and we ended up staying in Pearl for a little bit, and all of a sudden I remember, man, waking up, and I used to have these little visions of my mother sometimes talking to me, telling me little stuff, and she said, "You ain't got your damn degree yet."
Oh, you had not finished school.
I hadn't finished yet. I left early. I left with probably about semester and a half to go. And I left to go pursue the NFL. And man, I was thinking like,
yeah, what are you doing for work-wise when you go back to Mississippi? So now you're living in Pearl, Mississippi.
Yeah.
Are you working at all, or are you just living off of what you've got?
Living off of what I got. Trying to figure it out at this point.
Right.
At this point, I'm trying to figure out who I am at this point.
How old are you at this point?
28, 29, 30.
29, 30 is that's a tough age to try to be figured out what you're going to do with life.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But you got but to just understand that for since you was 15,
yeah,
or since you was 13,
all you knew was ball.
This is all you've been doing.
Yeah.
So this is all you pretty much know. So I had to really reinvent myself.
Some
I had
people
to
are
find
like,
out who I am.
That age, a lot of people are starting to realize where they're going to go with their life.
Oh yeah, a lot of people hit
your
their
life
stride.
is pretty much
starting.
You're completely starting over again because the life that you did have is now done.
It's done.
Now ended, and you were starting fresh again, basically.
Starting fresh, man.
So you decide to go back to school?
Oh yeah, started to go back to school. Went back to Mississippi State, made some calls, and everybody. That's why, man, I would never. I mean, Mississippi State did so much for me.
Yeah.
And, I made some calls. One thing I never did do, I never did disrespect anybody. I never did embarrass myself or my family to where nobody wanted to deal with me.
Right.
I never did that. Now, I was my own man. I stood up for myself and You know, so you knew who I was, and you knew what I stood for.
Right.
But I wasn't ignorant. I wasn't dumb to where I'm finna do dumb stuff. That's gonna cost me. You know what I'm saying? I didn't do that. So I made some calls, and man, they put me back on my original scholarship. I swear to God, they put me back. They put me back on. I filled out paperwork. This is how it was. I'll never forget it. I filled out some paperwork, and everything that I had left, far as the dorm, far as the meal ticket, far as the classes, everything was paid for.
And you didn't have to go. You're obviously not playing for them anymore.
Not playing, not doing anything.
Are you doing anything with the team at all, like helping out?
Whatever. If I wanted to do that, with the team. Luckily, I had the same guy that recruited me, Melvin Smith. He was still there.
Yeah.
And this is even how I got into coaching. I was out there helping one of the defensive linemen with some stuff. I would go because I went to school there. Sometimes I would go in the facility and work out on my own, just by myself. They ain't bothering nobody. I'm just looking. They don't know who I am. I'm just checking them out, you know. So, one of the guys was out there working on some stuff by himself, and I went out there and got to showing him some stuff. And luckily, Coach Smith seen me. And Coach Smith basically told me, said, "Man, that's what you are. You're a coach, man. You need to coach. You need to let me put you with one of my guys, and let's see how you do."
Yeah.
And man, that's how it took off from there. Once I got my degree, I had a job before I finished my degree.
What was your degree in?
Fitness management. I was a minor in clinical exercise physiology.
Okay. And then your job was a coach?
A coach.
For Mississippi State?
Mississippi Gulf Coast Community College.
Okay.
Yeah, Mississippi Gulf Coast Community College, and it was under Steve Campbell.
And so how long did you do that?
I did that for 8 years. And then for 8 years, we won 3 state championships. Man, I put several guys to Division I. Coach gave me the opportunity to recruit. He the one that taught me how to recruit. He taught me how to go into a home and talk to the people, talk to the parents, and talk to the people that influences the player to actually come with you and trust you and sign with you. He actually taught me how to do that.
Recruiting is special.
It is, man. You got to have something to you that somebody likes, that they can feel comfortable with. If you ain't got that certain something, it's gonna be a bad vibe, and they'll never pick you.
Yeah.
And everybody don't vibe with you, but you gotta have that special something.
Did you have any players that eventually went on to the NFL?
Yes, I got a guy that's playing right now.
Who?
John Jenkins.
Oh yeah.
John Jenkins. He's a nose guard for the Raiders.
Okay.
Yeah, and this is his 13th season. Yes, he's still going strong, man.
That's big.
Big John, yeah.
You ever talk to him?
Facebook.
Yeah.
Facebook. We reach out on Facebook and stuff like that. I follow him on Facebook. He got his. He's from Connecticut. I went to. We went up to. Now we didn't drive. We flew. They flew me up to Connecticut. Me and another one of the coaches. They had already talked to him and recruited him and stuff like that, and they just didn't know. We just didn't know where we was gonna put him,
right?
Because he was one of the biggest athletes that they had, but he could run. You know what I'm saying? And he was just big for us. He was kicking. He was punting. He was playing fullback. He was playing tight end. He was playing all these positions, but defensive line.
No, right.
So when I got him, he had never played defense before, really.
So he didn't even know techniques and all that stuff. No. He just had the size and the ability.
And the ability.
And that's all it takes sometimes.
Man, and he had to want to.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He had to want to get better. And man, we did some unconventional things to get better, but he understood, that's just like his bull rush. What I mean by unconventional was I made a sled. I made a one box like sled.
Right.
And I was able to put weights on it. And I would have him to push it. I would have him to push it. I would have him to fire off on it, and I would have him to push it. And I would tell him that this is working on his bull rush. You know what I'm saying? I would tell him, it's just like pushing a car. I had to, just like you pushing that bumper. I say, get on that bumper. And he knew when I meant get on that bumper, that means get low. You know what I'm saying? Get low and come up through your opponent. You know what I'm saying? And man, and when he started developing it, and nobody couldn't sit in front of him. Nobody couldn't sit. He would take double teams back to the quarterback, and nobody could sit. And man, I remember when he actually went to your school, your favorite school, Georgia.
Oh yeah,
yeah. What's his name? Rodney. What's his name? He was a defensive line coach. Golly, what's his name? I forget his name. But anyway, he came in. He gave John an opportunity, man, and John went down there. I remember they played the first game against Missouri, and he every time the quarterback dropped back, every time the quarterback took that snap from shotgun.
I didn't realize this is the same John Jenkins.
John Jenkins, that's my guy.
I didn't realize that he had even went to community college.
Gulf Coast Community College.
That's crazy.
Yep.
Yeah, he is a big guy.
Yep.
I wouldn't even say guy. He's gargantuan. There's something about when you get them that big, they're just like,
yeah.
You see them on TV, people think that, they don't realize how big they are on TV.
Yeah.
You see them in real life, and 6'6" is almost, you're one of the shorter. I mean, you get a lot of these 6'8s.
That's right.
6'7s. Like,
that's right.
It's crazy to see people that size in person.
And they can move.
And they move like unreal.
Yeah.
Like you just wouldn't expect them to be able to move that fast or have that kind of,
Skill.
ability, the skill set. But yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
So, wow. Okay. That's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
What about, what made you quit coaching then at that point? You've done it for 8 years. You've got championships. You've seen successes. What gives?
I'm kind of like that. Football has always been a passion. It's always been a love, but it's one of them things to where I struggle with because I'm not just a football coach or a football player.
Right.
I'm more than that. And I always set out to prove that I'm more than that I'm more than just a player. I'm more than just a sport, more than just a jock. You know what I'm saying? What people would say, because if that's all you did and that's all people think you're a jock. They think you can't articulate. They think you can't comprehend. They think you can't hold a conversation. So I always set out to prove, what I'm saying, those narratives was wrong when you dealing with me. I'm not that. I'm intelligent. I got sense. I can talk to you. I got understanding. I got conversation. I've done things. I've been places. You know what I'm saying? So it's just different, just, but far as, I just basically tried to make sure that I defined those stereotypes. Didn't want to fit none of them stereotypes. So it was like I strive to do other things other than just ball, other than just football.
So what did you do after you left coaching?
After I left coaching, I settled in on my responsibility as far as my businesses go, my property and my bail bonding business. All right, so kind of settled in on that and focused in on that, and all of a sudden I started teaching. Now I get an itch to educate. I get an itch to speak, to kids, to motivate them.
Right.
And to try to better them. I've always had a knack to grab a young person's attention and keep it, and make them respect me because of what I've been through. You know what I'm saying? So I got to thinking about that and was like, okay, well, let's dabble a little bit into some high school ball, into some stuff like that. Let's see where this goes. All right. So I did. I coached for Macomb High School for a year. I did that, and and that was awesome. I enjoyed that. Kids was great. Coaching staff was great. But but in the midst of that, I met my fiance. And my fiance, she lived in South Haven at the time.
Okay.
All right, so that's what brought me to this point.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you had to look back now and say, give somebody advice who's getting ready to enter that world, I mean, I know it's probably a lot different with them offering NIL money now. Mm-hmm. I just saw that the quarterback for Georgia had just recently bought a Lamborghini, Urus, however you pronounce it, mm-hmm. which is like the Lamborghini SUV. You know what I mean? If he's making enough money for that, I mean, it's kind of hard to say he's struggling, financially. And not to say, I don't want to say money motivates everybody. Money's a motivator for me. If you're going to pay me, I'm definitely more motivated to do it.
Yeah.
I told you before, I do Santa in the wintertime, and it takes me a year to grow my beard out. So, I do it. I really enjoy doing it. I do a lot of like special needs and do these, particular events that really are heartfelt. I do like foster children events, stuff like that. But I also get paid for it. I do paid events. It makes a big difference. So, I can understand where these guys see this NIL money, and it does motivate them. Yeah. And some of them are going to use it, and they're going to use it for its advantage and push them to the next level. But what would you say to them now, somebody who is going to go down a similar road, is probably maybe not make it to the NFL right off the rip, but maybe have to go to community college?
Yeah.
Like, what would you say, here's my advice?
I mean, I'm one of the ones that, and I might be one of the only guys that I know that's against the NIL money. I'm against it.
Yeah.
I'm against it. And I got my reasons. And it ain't got nothing to do with, hating on nobody because I don't want them to have no money. I don't want their family to have no money. It ain't got nothing to do with that.
Right.
I'm against it because, now when you give this kid and their family, and you're, in your head, you're getting what you're worth. But sometimes now you've given the kid the piece of candy way before it's time to give him the candy. Now, we had something to where we had something to work for. The candy wasn't there. The candy was always seen. But we had 4 years to get it, 3 years to get it. You see what I'm saying? It wasn't given to you before you prove yourself that you was worthy of that.
Right.
Sometimes you got good college players that don't pan out in the NFL. Sometimes, and I guess that's more of the reason why that they're giving that they're offering the money, that they're getting the money right now, and I understand that too. But at the same time, like what's there to work for? When sometimes when this guy might not even get a contract that big, but he already got this money in college.
Right. Why
would he get better? What's his motivation to get better?
Kind of like with Caleb Williams right now, the quarterback from USC that's didn't work out for anybody at the combine, didn't feel like it. And to each their own. I'm sure that he's got his own reasons, but he made so much money in NIL money.
That college money is going to be more than what his first year for the NFL going to be.
Yeah.
See, but don't that seem backwards?
Right. Yeah.
You see, so that's my whole point. Like why would Caleb, other than having the drive to be a better quarterback, to be the best quarterback that he can be? What else would motivate him to actually push himself?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's definitely not going to be the money because he already made that money. So I look at that and sometimes your family gets involved a little too early. Dictating where your money should go and what you should spend it on and stuff like that. And money is attention. money attracts attention. Money attracts attention, and money is sometimes a distraction if you don't know how to use it, how to utilize it. If you ain't never had it before, you're going to blow it before you understand what to do with it.
Right. And for some, you may only get 4 or 5 years in that league.
And then now
now that money's gone.
And then now all of a sudden, you come in hot, but you play these years, and now on the college level, you ain't that good no more. So now you get drafted at a lower level than what you was worth in college. Like, okay, so what's your motivation? I mean, your money ain't even adding up. You know what I'm saying? You on a whole nother level. It's a whole nother opportunity to make the team. But at the same time, to me, it's not a motivation for the kids to be what all they can be to try to go to the NFL. You know what I'm saying?
I guess the advice would be find where's going to be the best fit for you. Who's going to offer you the best opportunity to grow, become a better player,
and get a degree.
Yeah,
and get a degree. What happened to the value of the degree? I went to the college because of the value of the degree also.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I mean, and don't get me wrong, the college is for a lot of people.
Yeah.
It's not for everybody.
I agree.
If it was not for me.
Yeah.
I did okay. I was a truck driver for years, so a trade was up my alley.
Yeah.
But I traded a lot for that. There was a lot of missed opportunities in life and things that I didn't necessarily get to enjoy because I was busy working. And did I make it financially? Yes. Was I successful when it came to stuff like that? Yes.
Yeah.
But there were a lot of opportunities that were missed. I was married young. My wife and I were like two ships passing in the night.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of give and take, but go to college. If somebody's paying for it, it is absolutely the route.
That's right.
Absolutely the route.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't see why you wouldn't take it for free. It
was the best thing that ever could have happened to me.
Yeah.
Was getting away from, and it was a getaway. It was a getaway from your situation. Now it's up to you to make it happen.
Yeah.
And it was. I mean, it was like I said, I wouldn't take it back for nothing. It was one of the best decisions I could have made was going to college and finishing.
Yeah.
And just having that, having that degree, what I'm saying, kind of made my chest poke out a little bit at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? Because that was something that I've earned that can't nobody take away from me.
Yeah.
And to me, that meant something to me. That at the end of the day, everybody can say what they want to say, but at the end of the day, I graduated from Mississippi State University. And I did it myself. I with no help. I did it myself. I ain't gonna say no help. I had people that was in place to help me when I needed the help. But at the same time, I mean, man, I wouldn't take nothing of it back.
Yeah.
It was one of the best decisions I made, especially going to that school.
Yeah.
That school was for me. The people was for me. The coaches was for me. But once again, I never embarrassed anybody. I did what I had to do. You know what I'm saying? And people respected me for that. So when I went back, there was so much love when I went back. It was like I had never left, and I'm thinking to myself, why I ain't do this before? Why I sat there thinking, what I'm saying, what I'm about to do. I mean, I could have figured out what I'm about to do when I get back in school. You know what I'm saying? That was 2 years worth of time right there that I lost trying to figure out who Dorsett was. You know what I'm saying? But once again, that voice spoke to me and said, get your butt back in school.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And when I got back in, everything took off. And the opportunities started happening. My face resurfaced, you know what I'm saying? And everybody wanted to, wanted to be there for me if I needed them. So it was one of them things, man. Like I said, I wouldn't take it back for nothing in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, listen, I truly appreciate you coming on and sitting down and talking with me. I love to learn these new things and hear somebody's perspective and just to know your story and where you started and where you've gone to. Now you're a small business owner. You know, you're a hard worker. You get out there every day. You make it happen. And to know that you came from, you know, very humble beginnings. But it just goes to show that if you got somebody that can just point you in the right direction and you put forth the effort, you really can go and do anything you want to do.
That's right. That's right. I owe a lot to my high school coach, man. And it wasn't just him. It was coaches. It was you know, it was a collective effort. Because I was a nut. I was a bully. I was a nut. And they took that energy and transformed it to where it was praised on the football field, and that turned me around. It turned my life around.
Yeah.
Because now this aggressiveness that I've been having, that I don't know what to do with, now I'm able to do it, and I'm able to get applause for it. It was therapy.
Yeah.
It was therapy for me.
As long as you did it in the right place.
As long as I did it on that field between the whistles.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? As long as I did it between the whistles, shit. I mean, everybody, it was awesome. And nobody had a problem with it. It was praise, and I loved it.
Well, that's awesome to hear, man. Again, I just appreciate you coming on. And
thank you for having me.
Yeah, man. Let's do it again sometime.
Sounds good.
All right, man.
All right. Take it easy, man. Take it easy.